Good morning, everyone. Joining in the booth here is for Game 60, U.S. versus Turkey, men's under 23. I've got Turkey look like they're going to be on the black team this afternoon with the U.S. in their white uniform. This will be a very interesting game. I think we've got the Turkish that haven't been the reigning world titles. They haven't been lost. They're on the top of the table with New Zealand. The United States are just behind them at the start of the day. That might have changed with a few fixtures done today. The Australians won their game, so they probably just bumped ahead. But New Zealand just won over South Africa. So we'll see what the U.S. Can do against the Turkey team here. We got a lot of players from the Turkey player that have played in the world team that won silver medalists in Stellenbosch versus a very young, inexperienced U.S. team. But we'll see what happens. And we got 11 seconds before the game starts.
How many of your players were in Worlds in Spain? Do you recognise it?
I think maybe there were 3 or 4.
And play is underway in fourth age group championships. Game number 60 were Turkey in the dark and the USA in the white. The game is starting. The Turkey players have elected to bottle up, but then move it quite into the middle of things. Now we've got Turkey. I've got. But now you've got the games here. No.
Hey there, David. Nat Wickham joining you in the commentary box on the mic.
Oh, welcome back, Nat. I think you've been doing a fair number of games in court, too, and we're looking for some people to help us in. It looks like Turkey has got first blood in 14 at the 14-15 mark. Yeah. That's about 30 seconds into the game, and no, it was a foul by number 11, Koskin, who has been pulled up by the referee. So we're still at 0-0 in the first half of the game, Nat.
Turkey, they're a tough team, David. I think they've got a swag of players that hover between the elites and the under-23s. Just out in the pool deck and, noticing a bit of chest hair happening there, David.
Yeah, there's sorry, Nat. Yeah, I think there's 5 players who played in the game against us in Stellenbosch, and they were silver medalists. So they have a lot of experience. Hard team to pick. Their size, their ferocity.
Their heads are really together. They can play. They can win with two in the water, David.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that a couple of games ago. That unfortunate game against, and I won't mention the team they played against because I'm sure they'll want me to do that again.
No, so we've got the United States boys. They played them in a pre-game, and Turkey were all over them in the pre-game. So, but at least the American boys will have had time to go away and think about how to counteract that strength and that experience.
Yeah, and we've had an infringement here against Turkey, and then the U.S. will get an opportunity to set up and turn the play into some puck control and try to drive it. I think that's the secret against playing against Turkey. You have to own that little puck on the bottom of the pool, but it's a matter of whether the Turkish will allow you to do that.
Look, I'm surprised you didn't take that space there. The American, he tried to go through the Turkish player, and the Turkish are too strong. You've got to draw them out, try and go round or cut back in, a nice deep cut, and look for space.
Yeah, number 9, Tristan De Bruyne, did do the run. He's been recycled it with Samuel Martez there. Number 7, Egar was, I think, but look at the size of the Turkish, and they're just all over them. Yep.
Yeah, the boys have to swim back that little bit further and come as a front tackle. You can't reverse tackle that kind of strength and momentum.
Yeah, no, you're right there, Nat. They need to get back deep in defense and present a strong body beside them.
Now, if you're watching the stream, it'll be probably pretty early in the morning for quite a few of you. Please get on the live chat, send out some g'days, and we can pass those on through the stream. And anything you want us to talk about, just put it on the live chat, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's only one team here from Turkey, and the defending world champions who are playing right now. So there isn't a lot of help, and unfortunately, my Turkish isn't very good at all, Nat. So unfortunately, we won't be able to bring you any live in your home language, but hopefully you might be able to understand some of the English that's going on if you're supporting the boys back home.
Yeah, look at the way these boys are set up. They are attacking beautifully here. They don't just try and go up the back wall. They're trying to use that whole space in front of the court, and it's paid off.
Yeah, it's paid off. And Nath Whelan looking like a signal's being called that it's a no goal. Signaling it's a gloved in. It's unfortunate. I guess when you're a right-handed on that left wall, Nat, you sort of have a tendency the puck will bounce off it, and if you advance that puck with your glove, the referees are right there and pull it up, and that's what that looks like what's happened.
Interesting you say that Turkish have only got the one team over here. I'd love to see some girls come to the next World Championships from Turkey. If they're as strong and fit and as dedicated as the men's team, they'd be a real force to be reckoned with. So come on, Turkey, let's get some girls involved and get them to the next aged World Championships in Sheffield in 2 years' time.
Yeah, is in Sheffield next time, Nat? I haven't heard that, but
that's the word.
That's the word on the street, and if anyone's going to know it, ask a Wickham, especially in Nat Wickham. Tori's got the social covered, but you got the streets covered, Nat, with all your gossip. But look, I think Turkey had a women's side in Spain. I'm looking to my the man running the booth here and all that sort of things. The under-23 men's in Turkey, but they finished well down the ladder at that signal, or one of our displays fell down. But they look like they finished 7th at the last seedings in the spaces in the third age group World Cup in Spain.
So maybe
and
the
James
girls
running the box here was there. You were present there, weren't you, James? Yeah. He doesn't remember them, but I certainly can see them on the list. And they finished just ahead of Spain and Canada, and just behind New Zealand in the fifth place standing. Now they were 6th just after New Zealand. Colombia won that. The Dutch were second, who aren't here again. That's pretty disappointing. I said that on the Golden Live bit, but it looks like we have either a goal was scored by the Turkish players. We're sort of chatting away there and lost a bit of track of that. And I apologize, viewers. And looks like number 11, Kuskin, had scored that goal.
No, I think the viewers want to hear about all the peripheral stuff as well, David, the history, especially the grandparents and the aunties and uncles. You know, the Turkish girls, the under-23 girls, they were at the last age championships. However, I'd imagine that maybe they're too old for the under-23 category. And that's why it's really important to have your under-19s coming through. Just as important, and it keeps that depth in the competition.
Yeah, Turkey's been sort of a peripheral player in the past, and I recall meeting the Colombians in 1990 when they first started having a presence at Worlds, and you would have started seeing them in some of your campaigns, Nat, and they're now a force, and I look forward to seeing Turkey building their force, because they're just sort of on that growth. But their senior players in their men's division are doing well. Current World Championships in Stellenbosch, silver in that. But the U.S. have been involved in underwater hockey for a while, and I remember, I think one of the coaches for the under-19 women, Kendall Banks, has been playing probably forever. So this sport has been going, and it's good to see him back coaching. And I think I understood that he actually has 2 of his daughters here playing. I'm not sure, but
I think you're right.
I'll try to find him on the next game when we see the U.S. women play.
Yeah, the United States boys, there's a lot of depth in their competition, but they have a lot of swimmers that come through. I think on the Californian side, they have a really strong club. Great playing in America, playing in San Jose many years ago. Really terrific competition. They know how to run a good competition, well balanced, good social side, as well as good pool time. Yeah,
and I must admit, having commentated with one of the American managers of the under-19s, he was sort of saying it's good that they do have a lot of sports that compete like we do here. We have cricket and football, and they do target a lot of their swimmers, because you can imagine, like us here in Australia, a lot of our swimmers come through, and we see Olivia Sanderson coming through. We've got Jess Cohen in the under-19s. They're all swimming. They come through a swimming background, and they do quite well at underwater hockey.
Well, it's not just their speed; it's the whole mentality towards training. The swimmers, they're at the pool every day, 7 days a week, and they put in the long hours, and that professionalism flows through into underwater hockey, and it lifts the whole team.
Yeah, it's good to see the Americans, targeting that type of group, and it's already starting to pay off. I mean, it's only, we've got about 7 minutes done, and we got 7 minutes to go. Turkey's got a 1-0 lead, and sometimes I would expected this game to be a lot bigger than that.
Yeah.
But the Americans are doing a great job in holding off that in their game.
Absolutely, and I don't think we've had, it's been fairly clean, fairly open. The Americans had to be really happy with how they're playing. If they can just keep this strong defence and then convert it to an attack, Turkey, you've got a lift. The Americans are really giving it to you.
Yeah, it looks like the Turkeys are all over them, but I can tell you the American structure is holding strong. They're rotating well. They've got a good line of defense, and they're actually defending them quite well. The physicality doesn't seem to be a fear to the Americans as they once again their defense clears it away, and a good drive by the Turkish. There were numbers, but the U.S. was up to strong and under pressure, but. That's sort of happening, and it's good to see the Turkish seemed at this stage, Nat, have cleaned up the game. They were sort of a bit against the Australians yesterday, as we were calling that game. They spent a lot of people up on the bend, and I think Angus was a bit concerned we didn't have enough chairs. But and I know there was a lot of aggression on the side of the pool by some of the spectators about it, but that wasn't tolerated. And unfortunately, it looks like today the Turkeys have come up and learned from that yesterday and putting it back on there. Well
Great
done.
game to watch, and lots of smart decisions being made. The Turkish find their players really well, and if they can convert here, which it's in the tray, the refs will look towards each other. All three will confer, and they've called the goal, and we're just waiting to see who scored for Turkey.
Yeah, we missed that number again. The referee was a bit quick with his hands, and our cameraman trying to find him, but he didn't. And it looks like the signal's coming into the bench, and we'll get that shortly, Nat. And that was a concerted effort by the Turks who drove it into the corner and then slid it underneath and it looks like number 4, Amar Afghan, has scored that goal for the Turk to take them a 2-0 leads as the game starts. It's really good. The refs get the games going really quick. It's on flowing.
They do. They maximise the game time, and minimise the time talking on the surface. And when they pull up a free on the other side of the pool, you see teams go to make some substitutions. They don't have time to do that. The refs have got the game started, and bam, you've got 4 players in the water, 2 subbing. That's not clever.
Yeah, no, you're spot on there, Nat. Another advent to the game as the 3 referees and the advantage rule, but the side subbing, that's made a difference. I don't know, constantly back in the day, Nat, in our glory days.
Absolutely.
I still play, and I don't play very much anymore, but I certainly coach. But I remember here in Hobart in 2000, and nothing like in the final game when we were playing against the French. It always felt like 6-on-10 because the French had a regimented subbing back line. They would hop out at one end of the pool, the next guy would get in. It's just sub after sub. That's changed with the side subbing, and you're right. If the refs want to make this game free flowing and they start it really well, you're trying to sub at that time. I try to train my guys not to sub at breaks. We try to sub on the fly when it's advantageous to us, not a disadvantage, and nothing like subbing. We saw it a couple of times yesterday when some of the teams were subbing back in defense. They didn't get back in the play soon enough, and soon enough that puck was in the tray.
So, David, do you tell your boys that if it's been holed up on one side for a lot of the play, that it's okay to swim it across the pool to the sub bench to get fresh players in?
It's not really a hard, fast rule, but we certainly look for open space rather than that. And if that open space happens to be over the sub bench, the bonus is we can get some fresh guys. What I do ask if you have someone over there and you are looking to sub, you actually protect the puck. You just don't give it to the opposition, so we can actually transition into some fresh players. And I think a lot of the coaches are actually doing that. And I've seen a couple of the swims to near their sub bench, and that player will hold on to the puck. So that's nothing really strategic that a lot of teams do. But the U.S. has a free puck deep in the Turkish end, so hopefully they can convert something here.
Yeah, looking at the setup for the Americans, their forwards sit really wide, spaced apart, which can work for you. But when you're flicking it forwards, you want to be flicking to two forwards. So I think your forwards do need to be a bit closer together, and that way, you maximise your chances of getting it towards the goals.
Yeah, it looks like there's some people up net. We got a couple of one from the Turkish side from Duken. I'm sorry about I'm very hard to translate into Turkey, but from Turkish, but I'm sure it's saying go Turkey go, and Stephanie Drinkwater in US, go Drinkwater team USA. And we have Lee Drinkwater, number 10, playing. So a big shout out. Thanks, Steph, and I'll make sure he gets the message.
So the refs have pulled up play, and it looks like they're putting someone in the bin, number 6 for Turkey's, Sadentin. There's some interesting names. That's a long name, David. That last name, I'd like you to try and pronounce that. Gengil.
Gengil. There you go. Nat.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, well done.
This is
that
good
teacher's
for me.
coming out on you.
I know. Well, I'm looking at the first names of the Turkish boys, and there's a few there that I'd be struggling to pronounce, but they're beautiful names. Love it.
Yeah. Yep. And if you look over on the American names, there's a few interesting ones there. They have a cross of a number of national. Well, they're all American. Don't get me wrong, but their heritage backgrounds
Absolutely.
going from Samuel, Nathan, Decker, Michael.
Well,
Shin.
I'm liking Shea Shimizu Castellanos.
Yeah, that's
we call
an
that the
interesting
big hyphenated one.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of maybe possibly Chinese, Japanese, and a bit of Castellanos, a bit of Spanish in there.
Yeah, I like it. This is all good. As Parker would say, it's a coat hanger name, but I don't know where he gets that from.
It's just hanging around there with a big hyphen.
I think so.
And we had number 2, Koskin from the Turkish, taken into the corner to relieve some of the pressure on the goal, because the U.S. are pressuring the Turkey. Given that the fact, I think the Turkish are playing a one player down, and the referee's making a call. It looks like Nath Wheeling and referee making the call. So he's asking one player from each team to go have a sit on the bench. Hopefully we'll see what that. It looks like a bit of a tussle between the two, and one way to solve it is boys go sit in the sin bin and like it. So I'm not sure who it is, but it's one more Turkish, so they'll be down to 4. And one U.S. number 3 from the U.S. has been sent out, Decker Auckland. And I didn't catch the number of number 13, Mert Dugan from Turkey's been asked to sit out for 1 minute. And they got in a bit of a mix-up, and they've been asked to cool off in the bin.
And we're coming up to another call for unsportsmanlike behaviour. Coming up to half-time.
2 minutes.
Both these coaches have got a lot of experience.
Yeah, it looks and I'm not sure if there's a U.S. player going out. Number 1, Samuel Martez. I think he's got an unsportsman call. I'm pretty sure that was a 1 minute. He's the captain of the team. They'll miss him in the back line, but I'm not sure what. It's half time. We missed that. And I was wondering why he was walking to the other. He was in the right bin.
So 2 out each.
Yeah, number 1 is Samuel Martinez.
So starting the second half with 4-on-4, I love it. That's going to be interesting because it changes the whole dynamics of your strike. Do you take it wide and take it round, or you just penetrate straight through the middle, David?
Well, you've got lots of space. This is a full-size court. Very rare do we play in a 25 by 15 net, 2 meters deep. It's a volume game, obviously, but if you're playing with 4-on-4, lots of space in the pool. And that's,
I'll be
those
putting
fasties.
I'll
be
putting in my quick. I'll be putting in my quick and just firing them off and letting them go, because you don't want your slower, more solid players. You want someone that, like a greyhound, that you can just open the gate and bam.
Yeah, but you see in this game, both sides have. It's only 2-0, but I think the U.S. has been more than matching it against the Turkish onslaught defensively. We'll have another half coming up, and hopefully the U.S. team can sustain that. And I guess this is we're seeing the top of the ladder battle. I think you showed us earlier that we had New Zealand, Turkey, and U.S. at the top. So this is going to sort it out in this. And I wonder, the coaches of her saying, guys, come on. From the U.S. side, we're still in this. There's only 2 goals up, and the Turkish have to regroup and just get on the bottom and do their business.
Yeah, and I think the team that can keep all players in the water keep it clean, keep it mean, and you get 6 players in the water. Let the opposition make the mistakes, and then you capitalise.
Yeah, it's good the referees are seeing equal calls, and a lot of referees will keep that game, and they're calling it as fair as they can, and they obviously those players warranted being sitting on the side and cooling their heels, but it's our game, so we've got 4 here. We got number 11 Kuskin, and number 5 Ishmael, and number 4 Amar, and number 2 Koskin. For the Turkish, they look greyhoundish to me now.
Can you see all the facial hair happening there, David? I don't know. Under 23 boys, they're like they're really rocking it. Is that kind of like stamping your authority with that beard? I don't know.
That Turkish delight.
Scary.
All that Turkish delight. Number 6, Sadint is looking ready to get in, so he might jump in as soon as the pucks touch, and that might favor the Turkish people, the Turkish team, because they'll be at 5, and the U.S. seems to be. They're not ready to get back in, so. It looks like the Turkish will have a bit of advantage for a bit of time, Nat.
Look, I'm loving this screen, Dave. Isn't it great how we can see the ins and outs in the top right-hand, of the screen? You've got the scores, you've got your sponsors at the bottom. Well done for our techies that are getting all this organised for us. So it's game on, second half.
Yeah, James Milders here's at the control, and he's got his little fancy things. He does instant replays for us. He gets the camera switching. Well done, James. Yeah.
Look, they're keeping it tight. No one wants to go for that big swim on their own. Pressure from United States.
Now the pressure was one end to the other. Now it started in the Turkish end, but now the Turkish have opened up. I think they're at 5 at this time, and we only have. And the Turkish were left unoffended. Run out of numbers, got one more than the other team, and they swim it straight in. So we got a goal, and it looked like number 4, Ashmiel. We called him in as putting in there, one of the speedsters. He's popped one in for the Turkish early in the second half, 1 minute in, but they had a numbers of player up. That's the time to do it.
Yeah, and really hard to defend. You could see the United States boys trying to clear it, take it wide, but Turkey just kept on peppering it back into the centre, and they had the players to do it. So well done, Turkey.
Yeah, and we're off again. I think we're possibly at 5 on 6. The Turkeys are at 6 players. And the Americans, by my count, quickly is 5, but they're still outnumbered. I think that was Samuel. He had the 2-minute penalty, so he probably got another 30 seconds before he can join back in and even the teams up. But Turkey's under pressuring the U.S. and looking for their players. And you count the numbers, you make 6 passes, and there's only 5 defenders. Someone's going to be left alone.
And bringing it round, fantastic swing there. So they'll be centering up straight in front of goals. Makes it hard to defend. Got to defend the whole tray instead of just one end. Yeah. But well done.
Yeah, we saw looks like they're defending it, but I thought it might have gone in the bin.
Yeah,
but
I thought so too,
it's
David.
well defended by the U.S., but again, they come on another onslaught. And the U.S. are down in numbers and supporting their defending, and they're still trying to come. And the Turkish, another onslaught. This is probably the 5th go at it, Nat?
Yeah, it is. And look, great defence by US and really good control by Turkey. And I love the way that they're opening it up and not just going for the wall, the corner of the tray.
Yeah, they probably learned from the other day that you can't just tuck your head down in there and tuck it under your arm and drive it in. They're looking to move it around.
Yeah, and that's when you get pulled up for infringements too if you try
so
it's not pretty.
Yeah, so good on the coach Kadar for talking to his boys to sort of drop that from the game because they don't want to be spending too much time on the penalty box. Good on them, but the Americans have made some changes because they've been under some pressure, but we'll see where they're going. And
it's popped in. Looks like.
Yeah, it looks like number 8, Metcalf, but we'll wait for the signals from the referee. But it looked like number 8, 9 or 8, but. I think James will get confirmation for us, but I think he's confirmed it already. It's Mertcam, number 8 for Turkey, has got the 4th goal for Turkey, and the Americans just had no answer for that set play off the free puck in front of goal.
No, look, it looked good. Turkey were taking control, using their bodies really well. Some nice big flicks to draw the Americans out off the goals, and then that's when you get the spaces.
Yep, and they just had some pinpoint passes to their players. They weren't long, but they were very accurate.
And another big drive from the Turks. Turkish players. Great curl and a clean flick in. But
Yeah.
no, it looks like,
Now, we
yeah,
got a
I
signal
think
goal.
unless
Yeah.
there was a foul earlier, no,
Yeah.
we're all good. Number 5.
Number
So
5 or
is-
4? I think it was a 4. Amar.
Yeah, well done.
Hamar number 4 had put that one in. That was a lovely curl net.
Yeah, it was.
That's a I've seen you do lots of those, and it's a very useful flick. Nice, controlled, tight, come out of it, and he threw a nice pass right into the goal tray.
Yeah, if you back yourself on those curls, you're the one who's got the advantage. You're the one who's decided to curl. You go in and do it 100% and visualise yourself coming out the other side. 90% of the time you will. It's just such a hard move to counteract.
Yeah, I think the Americans need to start to regroup. They're getting a bit overwhelmed here. The Turkish coming at them, and they sort of sussed out how they're going to beat the Americans. And number 8, Omar Mendez, has got control of the puck, and he's waiting for his support to get in there. But he's being hassled by his counterpart, number 10,
Yeah.
Mustafa. Again, we're having a call, but
Gee, I'd be calling a timeout, David. If I was a coach, if I was Ian, it'd be a good time for a timeout, regroup. I mean, they've got to do something. They've got to use all their trump cards now.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes, just less than 10 minutes to go, Nat. I think you're right, but Ian's giving his encouragement to his players in the sub bin and making sure that they're actually hearing the messages. But we got a 2-on-none happening here from Turkey, but I don't know what happened there. But I think that
it just
there must have been an American in between there.
Yeah,
he
there was.
slid right in between. No,
Yep, there
the
was in
camera
between.
angle was a bit deceptive on that one.
Yeah, and I think the puck stuck just that little bit on the edge of the tray, and it gave the American just enough time to scoot it out.
Yeah, we tell our young people here on that, swimming into the tray. Don't flick it in, and unfortunately he flicked it, and it stuck on the edge, and he's right. It didn't result in a goal. He'll be kicking himself tonight because he probably wanted to move up on the leader scoreboard, but they're driving in again.
Yeah, like you said, we just that's pushed in convincingly. Yeah, when you've got that tray right open in front of you, and the temptation is to flick it. And as we saw in the game beforehand, the flick it looked like it went straight over the tray and was swum out.
Yeah, that goal was scored by number 10, Mustafa Gustin, but that resulted by constant pressure on the Turkish line, and the back line of the U.S. just couldn't answer the call of the 4th and 5th one.
Birthday. We've got a birthday here.
Oh.
Nathan Baker, number 2 for the USA men. Happy birthday, Nathan. I wonder if your family's here or watching. Send us a chat if you're watching. Nice work.
Yeah. Well, there's another one, too. Looks like Ivana, no, that's from the American under-19 girls.
I'll tell you
isn't it?
what, David, I can't think of a better way to spend my birthday, and that is playing underwater hockey.
Yeah, sport you love, and here playing in maybe his first World Championships. I'm unsure, but he might have played in the under-19s, but maybe we'll catch up with him after and get a clear running on that. But
that'd be
spending
good.
your birthday here, and unfortunately they're under the pump with the Turkey team dominating again the second half. I think they've sorted out the U.S. Style of play, and they're capitalizing on looking at those cracks and moving the puck well to their spaces, finding their players. The U.S. are holding a brave front, but it's a constant bombarded from a very strong Turkey team.
Yeah, they've got it in the middle of the pool now, and it's US to take the puck. Interesting to see how they set up. They've got their 2 forwards sitting wide, centre going down, looking to go to the wing. Then they've broken through. Now, looking at the Finns, David, we've got NJ or Najay as our sponsors. The boys tend to have a bit of a combination of Finns. We've got the strong, unbreakable Najays, and then you've got your longer Finns, the Briers and Matmaz.
Yeah, Nat. Today they in this game it seems to be a bit dominated by the longer ones, but there's I just say that on cue. We get a set of Najay come swimming through on us, so that. But I think there's we got Nat. I think we got Nathan looking for number 7, looking for Mitt, and he's looking for him to sort of give him a warning or something. But you're right, Nat. These Finns in the pool today seem to be dominated, but not surprising with the Turkish team and the size and the strength in their legs.
Yeah.
Pushing Brias. I often say I think a few of the ladies could use with a. They use all the softest Finns, but they should be using those Najays.
Yeah.
And, some do for their ankles. And that sort of thing is simply because some of the Brias are a bit too strong to push, Nat.
Yeah, they are. And you've got to choose, bigger is not not always the best, because you think bigger's going to be faster, but you've got to have the legs to be able to push it. And it's not just the first game. Oh yeah, you can push them during the first game, but 7 games in, when you get the lactic build up, you just can't push the big fin. And that's where the Nages are good, because they give you that longevity through the competition.
Yeah, and I did see the Turkish team in the before they started their warm-up. They were all up there seeing 6AA Amar and some of the gang up there, the Shark gear and the Vertex gear, looking at what they were going to buy, and I'm sure they're using some of his products. I know Amar works very hard at making sure the bats that he manufactures are to player specifications, and he's got a few new ones up there based on a few things he's seen around. He travels a lot to different countries to see what the countries play with, and he listens to the players, and he makes bats that players want to see, and that's good. And
that's great. And David, we're actually being streamed and broadcast to the general public here at the Aquatic Centre. The Aquatic Centre are really looking after us, and you'll be surprised at the number of people that have never seen underwater hockey before up there listening to our commentary. And you were just saying that Amar makes the gear. Yeah, we can't just go to the local sports shop to get our bats and gloves. They're specially made, specially designed, and perfect for underwater hockey. So number 13, naughty boy.
Mert Durgan has been asked to sit up, and he's joining his mate number 2 by the looks of it. Kuskin, an early goal scorer, joining him on the side. Looks like the Turkeys are getting a bit tired in their sloppy with their hand skills, and the referees are picking them up again for it. So again, that's something that Coach Cadell have to be get a bit more discipline on his players from, because
I think the States have just called a timeout. Perfect time. 6 against 4. You notice the Turkish rock the tattoo, David. Is it a cultural thing? Yeah, we've got quite a few tats happening with the Turkish boys. Not something I've noticed around the rest of the pool. Maybe Argentinians as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Not something I pay attention to. I only look at the numbers. Number 5 there, the captain of the Turkeys, Ismail. He's sucking in the big breaths, because it is a hard game in there. I mean, I know the score doesn't reflect it, but 6-0. But the Americans are pressing them hard and getting some last-minute adjustments by number 3, Mert Earl. Had to put a snorkel back in. The game is physical in there, knocking masks off, and that's why we have the straps on the mask rather than the rubber ones that you buy your standard mask with. And again, those things you just don't buy at a standard shop. You have to go to the places like Amar and Can-Am and make those things, and the Vertexes with the polo caps. Gone are the days where we buy all a set of water polo caps. We get them specially made now. That's fantastic.
Beautiful colours and coated, and just with the way of the world shopping, you can get stuff from Turkey, the United States, delivered to your door for free, and it's all specialised. It's fantastic. Whoa, now this is tight. We've got 10 players in the corner.
Yeah, it looks like the Turks are doing a strategy. Obviously, they had 2 players in the bin, so all they want to do is hold it away from the goal tray. And why not? A great way to do that is actually do it in your corner where you can actually control it. But there are rules that you can't constantly have the puck in there. If you put it in there, Nat, and I'm your next player coming in behind you, I have to actually make an attempt to get it out of there, or we'll be called, and it's a foul against us, and
it's seen as unsportsmanlike behaviour, because you're not making any effort to bring it out, and that's what we don't want to see. That we want to see players actually bringing it out of the corner, getting it back into play, fair for both sides. So it's a good rule.
Yeah, it is, and as you can see, the Turks are moving it over to their side of the bench so they can actually get some fresh players, because they didn't make any subbing during that, because they did realize the play was deep in their half, and the Americans were threatening their goal tray, and they moved it on that side so they can get some fresh guys. And sure enough, they subbed around, and looked like they got a few more players back in the pool, where they got their 5 back in there on the defense for the U.S.
And you see players making a quick change from the US team as well. So there'll be all fresh players in, and we've just got another chuck out. Number 3 for Turkey, Mert.
Yeah, Mert, I think he just came back in from there, and unfortunately the energy, he had a bit of a rest, and he came flying back in. And number 13, the other Mert, this is Mert Dugan, so I have made the mistake. Number 13 was already in there. That's Mert Dugan, and his counterpart, number 3, Mert and Roll, is now joining him in the sin bin, and the U.S. can enjoy another period of time where they have a player advantage.
Yeah, these boys, they've got to make up a bit for their teams. I'm sure they've got a fine master, and that they get punished for being in the sin bin. I don't know what they have to do, buy the whole team chocolates or fill up their water bottles, but you've got to make them pay.
Yeah, there's a bit of instruction in that. I think the referee might have saw there, and that is that the number 12 there for Sinis from Turkey was sort of dropping the puck back to his hip, and he was then forward advancing with his head and his shoulder into the American play, and you can't really do that. That's considered an obstruction, and that's what was called, I believe. But I'm the ref making the call, but he made the signal for some sort of an instruction call.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for on the wall. You want to be you've got to allow access to the puck from the opposition, and barging or pushing your body into them's not on. Now, great play by Turkish, using the whole pool.
Yeah, we got to remember they're Mert, number 3 Mert is still in the sin bin. 12 has actually joined the play, so they're back up to 5 against the American 6. So again, we're seeing they're presenting their dominance in the game, the Turkish, because they have a closer to full strength. But and a call was made against the Americans, and they're going to set up their free puck, and they do the tower screen with their heads down on there and try to flick the puck on this. You're allowed to do that unless you don't make an advancing move towards the opposition. You can hold your ground. You're allowed to have your position on the bottom, and that seemed to work quite well, because guess what? The puck is in the tray.
And number 6.
Number 6
Sadetin.
Yep, so I guess he was feeling a bit sad because he was just in the sin bin, and he had to make up for that. Maybe that's how they make it up.
Yeah,
the coach makes you go out and score a goal.
He'd had plenty of time for a rest. And you'll notice if you're watching the live stream, especially if you're not used to the game of underwater hockey, the in the last 2 minutes of the game, they stop the clock for any goals or any penalties, so we get that full time.
I think it's the actual clock doesn't stop for goals, but it actually stops for when there's a time or a foul called. It's to stop the delay in the game. But if you score a goal and you get an advantage, and lo and behold, in our 40 seconds of talking, the game goal was scored, and it looks like you're right, Nat. When the goal scored, the clock does stop, because prove me wrong.
Look, how many years have we been playing, David? We're players. We're not the referees. Leave that to someone else. Thanks very much.
There is 43 seconds. There is a big committee who discuss the rule changes and sort of things, and they do make them as much. Oh, we got a no goal called.
Look, the US, I think they'll still be pretty happy with this game.
Yep, we have another player from the Turkish team being sent out. He's unclear what he did, and he's looking for confirmation.
They always are, David.
Yeah, well, you know best than that. You never know what you've done, have you? And,
no, it's always someone else.
Yeah, it's always someone else. But I think he's trying to, the frustration and trying to understand that what he's done in the game, so he actually can clean it up. It's hard when you're talking Turkish, and you're not. Nave's trying to explain it to him as much as he can to number 11, Kuskin.
I thought you said talking Turkey there, David.
No, I'm talking Turkey. He's just making sure that the numbers are clear and clear it up. I think that's a good idea. And I know as a team, we got number 2 and number 8 in the sin. We got Murkaf and Kuskin again in the penalty box, and it looks like he's settled for the day. He's gone. He's unsure what he did. He gave us a sign that obviously the language barrier makes it difficult to and understand what he actually did. That's why we have hand signals.
Yeah, you can see that he's not happy though, can't you? There's no language barrier there. Now we see Simon Talbot there, one of the chief refs. He's watching the reffing from the side, and he'll give them ratings after the game.
Oh, absolutely. He's one of the coaches, the mentors for some of the new refs that we have here. We have a lot of experienced referees, but they're a constant learning program. And Simon, with his I don't know what sort of top that up is. Looks like a Space Invaders from the day, but
it does.
He'll be providing feedback to all the referees in terms of how they're positioning there. This is sort of, we advance the refereeing. It's good to see this sort of mentality in our referees constantly learning as the game comes to close, Nat. And the Americans did put up a good fight to start off, but 7-0 for the Turkish team. Well done, guys. Again, some more things to work on, and Simon's there talking to the Turkish coach to ensure the messages are passed, and I know Simon takes his time, and he loves making sure that every player knows what they're doing, and what they're doing wrong. So they'll learn from this. They'll go back so they can spend less time in the sin bin.
Yeah, and are you keen to go and chase up a few players, David?
Yeah, I might
Man
see
to
if any
man.
is. It's pretty hard with the Turks, but we'll see if any of the American boys will come down and have a chat.
That'd be great. And just while he's going, I'll say great job our sponsors have been doing. As you notice, Vertex in the right-hand corner of the screen provided all the ref shirts and volunteer shirts. So thanks, Vertex. And that terrific logo by Lee Marie Stinson and put together by Poco people. Got it on all our gear. You can see it on the refs' tops in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen and all the other merchandise. Nice eels entwined around the underwater hockey sticks. Excellent. Okay, so David will grab someone from either team and have a chat, so stay tuned. He'll be ready in about 45 seconds.
David, do the dance. Got to step over.
Yeah, Dave knows what he's doing. The Ripples just like my whole apart from that thing really good. Really? Today or yesterday? Yeah, there was I got some working yesterday also. Yeah. That was fine. But now this morning, especially on this one, I was just they just weren't playing. Like they were saving all that, and when I went out to play, there was nothing happening. So I'm not sure. It's like some new different problem. Yeah. He just turned his mic off. He just turned his mic off.
Turn it on!
Sorry, I just have to turn the mic on. Who do we got here? The captain of the under-23 American team.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Samuel.
Samuel, I watched that game. It was really hard and physical in there. You guys did a good job to defend in the first half and the beginning of the second half. How are you feeling after that game? You look a bit tired and depressed here.
They're some of the best in the world. Like we knew that we weren't gonna win that game. It was just but it's a real honor to play with them because it's not every day you get to play with some of the most elite players on the planet.
Yeah, they were the number one team coming into this in the world ranking in their size, but I must say you guys did an excellent job in defending that, and you rotated them off. You were in the game there. We spent 10 or 12 minutes there, and it was only 1-0. You guys did a fantastic job, and you must be pretty proud of your boys.
Yeah, I mean, like if you just can't give up, even though you know the opponents are stronger, you just gotta stay down, and they can't really play the game if they don't have the puck. And even if they're stronger than us, they keep getting calls out and out and out. And then, we just had an advantage sooner or later. 4 of the strongest players versus 6 weak players. If they're cycling good enough, they'll retain the puck longer. So,
yeah, I think you guys did an excellent job. Well done today. Any messages for the people supporting you back home?
love them. They should watch more of those live streams.
Yeah. Well, I had the Drinkwater family was joining us today, and I think one of your boys had a birthday, and we had the message sent in on the chat, and we wished them a happy birthday, and it was a good, exciting game. Thank you for joining us down here, and you got another game this afternoon?
Yeah, we have a game against South Africa, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, best of luck in that, and thanks for joining us on the stream, and good luck this afternoon.